Hey, welcome to another proven sales letter breakdown video. Today, we're actually doing something different because we're not necessarily going to take a look at sales letters themselves, but instead something that's a key part of using a sales letter strategy in your marketing, which is an advertorial. So if you're not familiar with this, these are basically articles that you put on the internet and then you drive traffic to them either via Facebook ads or maybe even YouTube ads, but they're not really that common in my experience for advertorial specifically, or so-called space ads, or little clickable things that you can find on the internet all throughout the net everywhere. And whenever people click on them, they are going to land on an article like this. So today we're going to take a look at two of these articles, both written by companies affiliated with Agora Financial. So I've broken down many Agora Financial sales letters before. If you're not familiar with them, link in the description. You're going to find the link to the entire Proven Sales Letter Breakdown playlist, and you'll be able to choose basically just like an a la carte buffet menu. So there's a lot of good stuff there. I definitely recommend you check it out. So today we're going to take a look at both of these, and they both have excellent copywriting, seriously. So again, if you're familiar with what I've been doing on my channel for some time and you've been following along, then you know how the key elements of persuasion work, how you need a strong headline, how you need a lead that hooks people in emotionally, it builds curiosity and desire in them, makes them read the rest of the copy. You also need a promise, an irresistible promise or a unique promise. Sometimes you need a unique mechanism or something like that, but you definitely need proof elements as well. Especially when you make a promise, you need a proof element. And then finally, you need some type of offer, some type of call to action as well. And fundamentally, these are always the necessary elements in a sales argument. Now, you can expand this many times over. So I can easily expand this to like a 50-point sales letter checklist, okay? Because there are many sub-elements if you want to create like a long-form sales letter. But for the shorter ones, make no mistake, they are still, in a sense, sales letters, but they focus more on the news value or on the shock value or on the content side of it, and only towards the end, hint at something new, something that people, want to discover. And it's a very common strategy to, as I said, drive traffic to an advertorial like this, and then people were going to click to the sales letter or to the video sales letter from these. So in this case, it's the exact thing that's happening. We have a clickable thumbnail here with the link that drives to the sales letter. But notice how, as we go through this, these aren't necessarily positioned as like sales letters. The call to action doesn't say, hey, click here if you want to buy the product. No, instead it just teases the story so that people actually watch it. And then obviously, as good sales letters do, they don't give away, in most cases, the product itself, especially when you're driving cold traffic to these advertorials, because those people don't even know about your brand. They don't even know that they have a problem or what's the solution or your solution. They don't care about that. They just want to make more money, let's say in this case, and that's how you can easily gather a lot of people with good advertorials and then make the heavy selling in the sales letter itself. And in the second version, the second advertorial, also it basically just drives to a video. So this one is actually for Money Map Press, if I'm not mistaken, affiliated with Agora, and this one is for Legacy Report, another Agora affiliated company. But yeah, let's see what's happening here, okay? But before we do that, before I forget, that if you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing, because I'm breaking these videos down daily. So if you enjoy this type of content, then this is the place to be. And also, if you enjoyed the video, if you love it, then please consider liking it, because it helps out a lot, both with other people and as well as the YouTube algorithm. So thank you so much in advance for that. But let's see what's happening here. So first of all, we have a little clause here that says advertisement, but to be honest, not many people are going to discover this or notice this, to be honest. Then we have a little brand logo of the legacy report so that people immediately start associating this with something that already has brand value. And then the headline only says, this is Elon Musk's next big bet, SAV. Okay, very simple headline, but this is actually basically it's a secret, so it teases something. This is Elon Musk's next big bet, next big secret. It's just worded differently. And one thing that's happening here is something called transubstantiation. So you can basically create secret-based headlines or leads in two cases. Either you basically talk explicitly about a secret, or you take, whenever you have something that's genuinely a secret, or you take something which is a pretty ordinary idea and you just add some flair to it, okay? And in this case, SAV stands for, I think it's here somewhere. I just don't want to like mess this up, but it's like standard autonomous vehicles or something like that. We're gonna find it as we move through this, okay? But that's what it means basically. And instead of just giving it away as people knowing, it has to do with autonomous vehicles, I'm not interested in that. Instead of saying it, we just say SAV, which is an interesting acronym. It gets people more invested, and then once they read what this stands for, they're already going to have some desire built up inside them and some curiosity as well. So this is super short. I'm going to read it and let's see what's happening here. Is there anything Elon Musk can do? So it starts with a philosophical question, and this prevalidates the existing beliefs of our target audience, because they do believe in most cases that Elon Musk is this genius character, who's also a multi-billionaire, and whatever he does, nobody believes him at first, but he does it. Well, for anyone who still has doubts about Elon, he's about to shock the world again. So this is the prediction. And if you've been watching my previous financial sales letter breakdowns, you can see how predictions are many times a core piece of these promotions, because it adds some sort of built-in urgency to people on why they should act now. And it also gives news value to the whole thing. Remember, these audiences that these promotions are going out to, they're very skeptical. They've heard it all, they've seen it all, they've been pitched many times over. So you kind of have to give them something really new with news value. And then the next 5 paragraphs are all about proof. Okay, so interesting. We don't really even get an explicit promise yet, but we start with proof. So it goes like this. He has been building tunnels under Las Vegas to alleviate traffic and is exploring doing the same in Los Angeles, Baltimore, and Chicago. So this links to the Boring Company. He's also overseeing Neuralink, a company that wants to eventually plant computer chips in our brains. This ties back to Neuralink. Last year, his other company, SpaceX, successfully sent humans into orbit from the US for the first time since NASA quit doing this in 2011. So, a SpaceX reference. And let's not forget that in 2020, Tesla became one of the world's most valuable companies, making Elon the world's second wealthiest person behind Amazon's Jeff Bezos. So, what else do you want as proof? The Boring Company, Neuralink, SpaceX, Tesla, one of the richest guys on the planet. So, it naturally flows that at this point, it's hard to argue Elon is a real genius. So this acts as kind of like an objection handling element. Surprisingly, most people still don't know about his next project, something known as SAV. And then very nicely, we have the call to action. Click here to see a demo of SAV. So at this point, we still don't know what SAV is, and it's all curiosity based. This whole thing is all curiosity based. You don't get any whiff of the product or anything else. Click here to see a demo. So we built up some desire in people, some curiosity, and this call to action leverages that, especially the curiosity part. And the cool thing about this is that think about it from a logical perspective. It's so well flowing and it's so logical. Like there's this genius guy, Elon Musk, who's everyone heard about at this point. He started like 4 extremely successful companies that are all pushing something towards the edge of science and technology and engineering, and now he has something new. So in a vacuum, this strategy wouldn't necessarily work so well, but by tying Elon and his past accomplishments as like a mad genius, there is real hope that he's gonna create it again. Because let's say someone creates something big like Tesla one time. Okay, that's fine. Maybe they're not gonna create it again. Maybe they create it one more time. Yeah, that's still okay. But if they create it 3-4 times, I mean, that's definitely a trend, okay? So at that point, it makes sense to believe that if he was able to do this 4 times, he's gonna be able to do it 5 times as well. And that's where the opportunity lies. So then the copy continues. It could change everything and make a lot of people rich in the process. So this is basically the promise, the future-paced promise. And Americans who end up participating in this project could even end up putting an extra $30,000 in their pocket every year. So this is the specific, unique promise here. So put an extra $30,000 in your pocket every year. This is building the greed at this point. Hard to believe, right? At this point, we have a preemptive objection handling element. So this copywriter who wrote this, I don't know who wrote this, but it was extremely professional because everything just clicks and everything is at the right place at the right time. So then we continue. But one of America's leading tech experts, Jeff Brown, has confirmed this is truly revolutionary. So we immediately get a proof after the promise, because after the promise we have a headline, which like a question, which preemptively even asks the objection that our target audience is thinking, and then we follow it up with but. It's very important because I'm sure that you know that whenever you say something and then comes a but and the rest of it, it just nullifies the entire first half of the sentence. That's how it is. Just try arguing with your spouse about something, and I'm sure that you've seen this before. So then we get this little quote from Jeff Brown, which adds even more proof. And it sounds big. It says, this is all part of a 30 trillion megatrend. There's a lot of money at stake here. It's bigger than 5G, AI, blockchain, or any other tech trend you might have heard of, Jeff says. Wow, right? At this point, people are like, wow, this is serious. And then finally, we get even more proof by saying that he also said some pretty big players are already getting into this trend. Buffett has already invested $15 billion in it and said he's ready to invest $15 billion more. So even more proof. And at this point, our target audience is like, wow, this really is serious. Like, even if Buffett is getting in, he's this genius investment guy who like almost always bets on good companies. Wow, that means something. And then we continue. He's even been asked to consult with members of Congress and members of the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency. So proof, an overwhelming of proof, because the promise itself is pretty big, that you can make a lot of money every year. And remember that this audience is unaware or maybe problem aware, but more like unaware. So these audiences are super cold, and that's why you need a lot of proof to even get a chance to get their attention. You need the big promise, but with the big promise, you need the big proof. And then we get a really nice, intriguing call to action line, which says, and now, for the first time ever, he's doing a demo on camera or on Elon's next big project, SAV. Click below to watch. So actually, SAV isn't even given away in the advertorial, so you never really discover it, but it stands for like standardized autonomous vehicle or something like that. So it's basically about AI-driven cars. And we have a very clickable thumbnail. Okay, so do you think that this is? Do you think as a member of your of this target audience that this is specifically a video sales letter? You probably don't, right? Because it doesn't really look like that at all. It looks like some interesting case study or something, like a technology video, like a Verge video or something. So that's why it's so powerful. It doesn't give away the secret. It's not salesy at all, but it builds a lot of curiosity and desire as well. So this is a great example of a nice advertorial that you can even model for your own business. Hope you enjoy it. And now let's see another one, because I have another one for you. I can't just end this video at 14 minutes, right? So Let's see this one, very similar. Another Agora affiliated company. And by the way, if you like the first advertorial, then please consider liking the video right now. Also subscribe while clicking the little notification icon as well, because that way if I release a new video, you get a little notification, so you get notified and you don't miss it. So let's move on to the next one. Mad Genius unlocks 36,000 years supply of free energy. Interesting. And this seems like just like a blog post, right? And it's an advertorial, but that's the point with advertorials. They look like blog posts. So as I scroll through it, it's a blog post basically. Let's see what it says, what happens in the headline. Well, first of all, Mad Genius in quotes, this basically teases something interesting. So as people are reading this, they're gonna be like, wow, so Mad Geniuses, they're usually polarizing people. They're geniuses, so they are always up to something big. And you know, I'm not mad. I'm not willing to be that mad genius. I'm much more safe. But let's check out what these mad geniuses do. Well, in this case, this mad genius unlocks 36,000 years supply of free energy. So the unlocks part adds some news value. The 36,000 years, this basically adds some specifics, and it also teases kind of like a new opportunity and a benefit. And it's just interesting, like, oh, why is he a mad genius? Why 36,000 years? How come free energy is possible? I thought free energy isn't possible. So let's see what's happening. And you see, this one has a little a different format, because these lines aren't really that like in most cases, especially with modern day copy like this, you only have very, very short lines in a paragraph. Here you have slightly longer lines, but still not the worst, but still it reads much more like a traditional newspaper or blog article, which means it's slightly harder to read, but maybe this audience is accustomed to this. But in this, it doesn't matter. It still is written at a like 6, 7, 8 degree reading level, because you definitely don't want to make your audience work. So let's see what's happening here. Here's the quintessential mad genius. He's the quintessential mad genius. Toiling away in his dark lab for days at a time, grabbing short cat naps on his cot, drinking stale coffee. So this is a great example of the show don't tell copywriting principle, which means that don't just give people all the details, but instead try to describe it in a way that people can imagine it, they can picture it in their own minds, because there's no fundamental neurological difference between seeing with our real eyes and imagining something. Many of the same brain regions get triggered by this. So it's really important in copy to paint pictures, okay, to be visual, because we are very, very visual creatures. And I think that this little paragraph does a great job at it. Then we continue with an authority buildup. Yet, he's considered the greatest scientist in history, responsible for the TV, DVD, lasers, remote controls, and even garage door openers. Wow, like, who can this be? I mean, I'm using these types of things, so who can this guy be? There's a little curiosity here. And now, his most remarkable discovery, whose potential went unrealized for 110 years, is finally coming to light. So this is the new opportunity. Notice that all the key elements for persuasion are almost always the same, regardless of the type of sales message or argument that you're trying to do. And this has been one of my biggest realizations over this journey of breaking down proven sales letters. This is the 77th day, and it's there in every single case. Okay, the promise, the proof, some type of unique mechanism, the call to action, the good headline, it's always there. It's always there. So this is the new opportunity here. And then we follow it up with some contextualization, because this might seem abstract to a lot of people. So we continue. I'm talking about a massive supply of free energy. Enough free energy, in fact, to power the entire world for over 36,000 years. So this makes it easy to understand. People will be like, oh, okay, so new discovery, but like free energy for 36,000 years. That sounds impressive. That would change everything. And then we continue. Not only does this free fuel threaten to decimate big oil's obscene profits, but it could also make OPEC obsolete and even bankrupt the Saudi royals. So the target audience for this, so-called Grandpa Rick, who's like someone who's probably retired or has investments or wants to save more money for his retirement, or wants to make more money, who wants to is invested in all sorts of investment stuff. He's on average much more likely to be conservative, right-wing leaning, and these people, they definitely hate big oil. It's the common enemy in many cases. It's a common enemy for many people, but like a lot of promotions and copywriting promotions definitely use this common enemy: big pharma, Wall Street fat cats, big oil, bureaucrats, okay, corrupt politicians, always there. So we have big oil as the enemy, we have OPEC as the enemy, which is like a cartel, so why wouldn't it be? And the Saudi royals, like many people hate them as well. So for the copywriter to introduce this, he just created a lot of emotional rapport with a lot of people. And sure, he or she might have pissed off some people reading this, but it's still worth it. Then we continue with proof, because there was the promise, there was the contextualization, there was the us versus them type of thing, and there's proof. Already, every major energy player on the planet is rushing into the fuel. The US Department of Defense just invested $7 billion in a single day. Companies like Google, Facebook, and Apple are spending billions to harness the technology. So notice how the secret is still not given away at this point. And the world's richest man, including Bill Gates, George Soros, and Warren Buffett, are going all in. So again, this is the same type of proof that we had in the first advertorial here. Even people like Buffett has already invested 15 billion into this technology. So it's very, very similar. You make several types of proof in order to convince people that yes, this can be something legit. And then one of my favorite lines in this advertorial is this: at the center of this opportunity sits one tiny $3 company with patented technology to make it all happen. So again, this is pretty common in most financial promotions, but how powerful is this? Like, we're talking about these super big numbers and like world-altering events, and then this sounds like a big deal to our target audience. But then you get an information snippet that says, the entire opportunity hinges on one tiny $3 stock company that will make this happen. So this is really, really powerful, because it gives hope to people that, wow, I get it, this is big, but I don't have the money to invest in it. But like, what? $3 stock company? It means that it's very underpriced at the moment. It means that there's a huge upside opportunity. It means that I can get in. I can only put in like $300, buy 100 shares, and maybe cash out with like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the typical type of promise in most financial promotions. And then we have some proof, because we made a promise, and then we have to back it up with proof. It says, already, this company has locked down deals with the biggest energy users on the planet, including China, India, Walmart, Google, and even the US Department of Defense. And at this moment, they're preparing a critical announcement that will likely send their $3 stock into orbit, handling early investors' massive generational wealth. So just like I said, at the moment, it's small, but the window of opportunity is closing soon. So if you don't want to miss out, like you did 10 times before when you were too chicken to invest in anything, then you better click it now, because this might be your only opportunity. And it's very, very powerful psychologically. And it also has, like, it's no wonder why this paragraph has an embedded call to action link, because this is one of the most powerful little elements here. And then we say, remember, the energy sector has likely created more millionaires than any sector in history. It's also set up rare and exceptional trades big enough to turn $1,000 into $1 million in 4 years' time. So this is kind of like proof, but it also gives a little bit of reason why for people, because like, okay, why should I care about this? Well, the reason why I should care about this is because there were plenty of cases in the past that, $1,000 have been turned into $1 million. Like, think about Bitcoin. If like 5 years ago you invested $1,000 in Bitcoin, it's totally possible to be worth $1 million today. You lucky bastard if you did that, but still. And then we have an urgency call to action number 2, which says, I urge you to give this breaking story your full and immediate attention. You see, there's a lot of curiosity and desire as well, but there's urgency here as well. With the Elon one, it wasn't so powerful, the urgency aspect. It was more about like curiosity and proof and a little bit of desire. Here, the desire is really strong. The proof is probably less strong, but the urgency is really strong. It's like, hey, if you miss this out very quickly, then it's over. And then we have the video with an interesting little thumbnail, which is like a desert. It's like, wow, what does the desert has to do with 36,000 years of free energy? I don't get it. I gotta find out. It creates a little like disconnect in people's minds, and that's what you want. So, I hope you enjoyed this. We broke down 2 awesome advertorials. Make sure to study these, to read these. They're not long at all, but they're great examples of amazing copywriting. And they are very important to the success of the sales letter, because this is many times the entry point to the sales letter, especially if you're running the offer to cold traffic. And if you enjoyed the video, once again, just smash the like button right now. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and also hit the little notification icon. And if you have friends or colleagues or people who are interested in these types of stuff, in copywriting, marketing, offers, cold traffic, media buying, stuff like that, then don't hesitate. Send them this video. It might be a very interesting and valuable thing for them. I benefit from it because YouTube will start recommending my videos to more people. They benefit from it because they learn something new. And you benefit from it because you're going to be the cool guy or gal who's like recommended something awesome. So thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And see you in the next one.